program is brought to you in association with First National Bank of Botswana.
FNB, how can we help you?
Good evening and a very warm welcome to First Issues. I'm Pana Torongwenya. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. The new year is right around the corner, bringing resonance to a time of song and dance in celebration and remembrance of the year past, while also looking forward to starting anew with a virgin year. This is also a time when songs that were considered hits during the year are played on repeat non-stop, like the Jerusalem song that has been a December tune since last year. The song has garnered recognition all over the world. It also has an actual dance challenge with people from all walks of life in all professions taking part in it with the hashtag Jerusalem Dance Challenge all over social media, including some videos from here on home ground. The song is by South African DJ Master KG and vocalist Nomcebo. It currently holds multi-platinum certifications in South Africa, but the most notable being the double platinum certification in Italy, as announced earlier in October of this year. This is not the only export from South Africa to have amassed such recognition, but rather a recent example of a long streak of other successes in his field, such as DJ Black Coffee, DJ Euphonic, and Black Motion, to mention but a few. The question is, why are we not seeing the same happen here in Botswana? In our humble opinion, the music industry here has hit a plateau, if not on the decline as far as growth is concerned. In comparison, this industry pales to other players on the continent when looking at factors such as talent recognition and revenue generated as it relates to growth. A local newspaper article states that in 2015, PricewaterhouseCoopers Entertainment and Media Outlook estimated that South Africa's total music revenue would grow to an annual compound interest of 4.4% to $178 million in 2020. These entities also projected Nigeria's music industry to grow at 12.9%, which would denote an increase from $47 million in 2015 to over $86 million in 2020. These are figures definitely unheard of for our country. So what is the missing ingredient? We invited onto the program 3 artists to speak on their own experiences as seasoned local talent in the music industry. Maxi Khoisan, who burst onto the scene with Queen of the Sands. Samantha Mohwe of Transition fame. And GEE, a Motoka rapper who's been serving rhymes for 13 years.
Ever since I started doing music 13 years ago, I can tell you that it's rough. It has been rough for me. I don't know about others. It has not been easy because I got to realize what the game is not how you see it when you are outside. Once you become a player, you get to understand some other things, but that is not really easy. People who support us the most, obviously, there are people who don't know you. I get it more industry and we're gonna get help from the mainstream artists. It's not like that. That's how rough and sad it is.
As you know, life changes, even for the showbiz business. Everything changes. It's survival of the fittest. You just have to always see how you make yourself relevant, how you repackage yourself. You have to move from your comfort zone, and as you know, our laws changes, seasons changes, years changes, so definitely.
My experience so far over the years has been great and not so great. Obviously, it's been a learning curve. I think most of the things that I've experienced meant learning on the job. Like, there's no manual for being in the arts industry, especially in Botswana, because our industry is still at its infancy stage. So it's been good and bad. There's been instances where I've been cheated, There's been instances where I've had to put my foot down. There's been instances where I've received a lot of support. So it's both ways, really.
Do you think that the Botswana market is conducive enough to produce megastars out of local talent?
I think it depends on what you are doing. Like I said, music is nothing different from any business, although we call it talent.
Yes.
But it depends on the product you're giving out. Is it relevant for the market of Botswana? And how are you giving out to the people who are here locally as Botswana? I don't believe that we can always talk about the population. Look at South Africa. I think it's about, I don't know, is it 45 million or how many millions? I'm not sure. But we've never had any artist selling 2 million. Only Brenda Fassie has sold 1 million. And, you know, so you can wonder, where are the other millions supporting, if not supporting their own people? But it's not like that. So even for Botswana, I don't think it's an issue of numbers. It's about, are you relevant? If the only 3 million that we have here, you are relevant to them and you appeal to them, you will get support, and that's going to be more.
I really doubt, and I'm going to tell you this, or no, I don't think it's going to produce good people, even to go international, unless Naila as an individual gets a mic and then start my music career, go educate. That's when I can make it. That's when I can become big. But Botswana gore ke push it, and then it takes me out there, it will never happen, because music industry of Botswana marketing wa teng hela, it's not fair. It's not fair. Looking go radio station, all the media houses had really that support kalo lorna Botswana ka borona re Botswana ha re supportana. I guess you itse ke Motswana mongwe le mongwe yo run business Botswana ka borona ha re supportana. So Botswana tota bola talent. That's one thing that I can tell you for now, especially when it comes to our music.
The environment is quite it can be volatile, let me just be honest with you. Infancy stage, we do not have establishments that really provide conducive growth for the arts. I think another issue is having people not look at musicians as artists, as working people. A lot of the time it's seen as, oh, it's just a hobby of yours, or oh yes, even in the 21st century, even in 2020, you still have a lot of people assuming we either get into the creative industry because we didn't do well at school and we couldn't cut it in any different properly established career choice, or it's just a by the way type of career, and so it becomes difficult to push through, and a lot of people don't respect it as a proper career that can give you money and open opportunities for you, etc., etc. I know of a lot of artists Botswana have managed to push past the local barriers. You've got artists like Mposi Bina, who's also doing great outside the borders, and that's thankfully because of her great music and social media, using that platform to permeate beyond our borders. You've got people like Hansi who've also worked with other artists outside the country. You've got artists such as Sampa the Great, who's making it big in places like Australia and in places like in America. So there's ways around that, despite there being challenges for growth in our country.
I do it for Majita Babarekis and the headset, Modi passing, but to get the flat cap, Baba Fayanga di Taco di Sena di Rete, Haleta Tilipirima Badiri Cash. Yo, what up? It's GWE. You're watching First Issues. We'll be back shortly.
When running a business means,
Where did I put that receipt?
we can help you with instant accounting, free software that does your bookkeeping for you. When running a business means,
Wait, what do you mean the container hasn't arrived?
we help protect your business from risk with Mohwebi Insurance. And when it means,
how do we pay our staff that don't have bank accounts?
we help you make multiple payments directly to people's phones with e-wallet bulk send. At FNB, we're constantly innovating to help business owners at every stage of their journey.
Welcome back to First Issues. Our conversation on Botswana's music industry continues with 3 local artists, where we now seek to find out why local talents seldom get international bookings, save for a few who manage to do so.
Sometimes it has to do with the team of people that you surround yourselves with, and people who are going to push you, who are going to, make the proper relevant connections outside the country. Sometimes it has to do with your talent. Sometimes it has nothing to do with talent. Sometimes it has to do with you just having a plan. I mean, just because you are in a creative space, it does not mean that you shouldn't have a plan of action. I think a lot of artists focus so much on the craft that they forgo the plan rolling out the creative side that they would like to show to the business side of things. I mean, there's a way in which you get your music into radio stations, into TV. You don't just arrive and say, here's my stuff. There's music compilers that you have to go through. There has to be a marketing plan of action. And so sometimes it just really has to do with you have a great product, but rolling out the product doesn't quite match, and so the rest of the world can't fully appreciate what you have to offer.
In your opinion, what needs to happen for Botswana music to, expand beyond just our borders, for it to go international?
First and foremost, what needs to change is people's misconception and idea towards artists. I think a lot of the time we're seen as being rogue and we don't keep time, we're not professional, etc., etc. When the fact of the matter is, a lot of artists and creatives that I know are none of those things. It's just they are misunderstood people. Another thing that could help change is just the teams that creatives surround themselves with. I know a lot of things require money because, in essence, for you to do well, you need to have some sort of investment. But where you can, especially when you're starting off, do things yourself, but also get the help of, there's a lot of people who are always willing to help. Family members are always willing to help you until you get to a point where now you can hire people to continue this journey with you. That's another thing, the team, as well as the misconceptions that people have towards artists. Another thing that can help grow our industry is just a desire to grow self as an artist. It's not enough to just want to grow your creative side. If you need to take a course in Business 101, short online course that is free. I tell you, there's a lot of free stuff that you can find online.
Well, first of all, I have to change an artist as an individual. I have to accept Botswana, and then re creative enough, because kind of music like talent, because there are a lot of talents by there's a lot of talent in Botswana, but it's dying. Because we see artists is all big, but can I want to talk about talent? We are it's not only about passion. So similar as an individual, can approach the right people carrying the media house. So you own the private sector later government. Raba approach a tools. Government are tools. I provide the service already bad. Because home piano music has all rates. Rabata Hobon. I will get a video, for example. Get a shoot a music video on go campaign a masol. Can I go to clinicking? Can I go somewhere up the office of president? I can't do that because that access for reduce the camilation government is rona relokwana e hona le melao ga be protocol tse le gore gompieno ana the main TV station e le gore tona le gore lebelo ke Motswana mongwe le mongwe e re ka re gape kana international ke ene le gore ke ya BTV le ona ke government akere ke batla gore khetha ke shoot music video e le gore o international but ke setetswe gore ke limit le no ke se ka thagisa gangwe motho a mme a tsentse bikini nyana kana ka thawele nyana e tsamaga. That's how we are not growing, because I
think they should grow in Botswana first, because for you to be a product outside, you have to appeal first in your own place. And then remember, when you are outside, people see you as a product from where you come from. So if you haven't made it where you come from, it's quite trickier. You have to win at your own home first. Music is dynamic. It might be love, it might be giving people the joy and the strength, whatever, but I have to be all the time be relevant when it comes to sound, when it comes to the way I package it. That means I once gave it as a traditional sound. I once gave it as an Afro-pop sound through the Brenda Fassie sound in South Africa by 2004. I then came back and then I gave it again as a sound of Afro-soul through Butrobi Malinga. Now I'm giving it in a Botswana Limpopo mixed sound with Bo Masakiji, and still people are taking it because it's more like a new age sound.
Yeah.
But the content and what I'm standing for still remains the same.
I believe that when we're talking about growth and progress, there has to be a yardstick on which you have to, gauge yourself on. So in this case, for our conversation, we were looking at South Africa and Nigerian music markets. So these are industries that have, growth in the millions, growth in the multi-hundred millions. So what is it that these two industries are doing that our local artists, or maybe the music industry itself, is not doing?
Ba free, ba kwala pina ka songwe le sengwe. Gape ha ba le culture. Go mongwe ba mo gore bolang le rona kwano ya le ke bua le tsweng di artists tse dingwe. Ke nnete ya gore re na le go lebala culture ya rona. Kana gompieno ana ha o ka lebela bone Nigeria le South Africa. Ha o ka re tsa dipina tsa bone hela sound ya bone e leng gore ke yone e trendang. E nna le so se leng gore ke gore se tshwaragane le ngwao ya bone. Se leng gore sa ba define o ka define gore no me sound e ke akwa. Mo tsana kana sound ya rona sente. Ha di se re tlhaloganya re sound ya rona ke he because rona ra go pa re tsa di sound kwa le kwa le ka go dira gompieno ana hanga ntsa pina ma piano kana mongwe motho a ntsa pina ma piano ha ona go eretse me the same piano le tsongo South Africa wa go le retse ka gore ga se original di ya rona.
When you look at those industries, most of the artists actually don't rely on government, and that also brings it to home. I see a lot of artists saying government this. You get to a point where you're just like, okay, the government is overburdened with a lot of things, and it would be great to have a government that is able to focus on every single sector. But what happens when you don't have a government that does that? I mean, does it mean you sit and stop and you decide you're not going to progress? No, but a lot of Nigerians and a lot of South Africans have kind of stopped looking at government to push through the barriers for them. But one other great thing that these industries have is their countries play mostly local music. Like if you look at the regulations, they play a lot of local music. And obviously they've got the numbers to back the population.
To start with, it's the way our rules are, the laws of our country that are different from what Nigerians are doing within Nigeria, what South Africans are doing in South Africa. Nigerian South African laws, I will talk about our government. They have realized that music is a diamond that can provide for the economy of our countries, of which here in Botswana we do say but really not appeal much when it comes to the laws of our country. Our leaders do say it, but when it comes to the laws, it's saying something else.
What is your outlook for our local music industry?
My outlook of the Botswana music industry is creatives who are bold, who are unafraid, and who are just ready to take the world by storm, who don't see the border demarcations as something to be afraid of, who are very quick to use the internet. I mean, we are able to break boundaries and cross borders by simply having a YouTube channel. You never know who can discover you outside this country. Just this conversation is reminding me of these two sisters who were discovered by Beyonce on YouTube, because all they really did was post covers. They would post covers and they would sing Chloe and Hailey, and now Beyonce has signed them and they're doing very, very well.